We are the anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. Holy Cross Health becomes Florida's only acute care hospital named an LGBTQ+ healthcare equality high performer in the 2026 Healthcare Equality Index.
Sadness and anger, lots of anger, as employees of Aquaplex and Birdcage see their situation go from really bad to worse.
Tyler Getchell pleaded guilty to attempted manslaughter after shooting Kyle McFarland, leaving him paralyzed. Prosecutors said month of alleged anti-LGBTQ harassment preceded the attack.
A Florida jury found State Representative Fabian Basabi liable for sexually harassing two former male staffers, battery and defamation, awarding $450,000 in damages.
FIFA's partner has urged soccer's governing body to reject a permanent transgender athlete ban, warning it could stigmatize transgender and intersex players ahead of the 2031 Women's World Cup.
All this important LGBTQ+ news and more this evening on Queer News Tonight. Hello and welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily news television show broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
Analytics company vidIQ certifies the Queer News Tonight YouTube channel as the world's most popular LGBTQ+ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached more than 12 million views.
We are proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida.
We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in our rainbow family.
There is no other news program in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
And it is Wednesday, July 22nd, and we are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we will tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show.
Happening Out Television Network is a nonprofit, 501c3 media company in the same models as PBS and NPR, but created for the LGBTQ+ community.
Our nonprofit mission is to support the 11 pillars of our community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Happening Out, South Florida.
In 2026, our magazine is celebrating 41 years of the LGBTQ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 14,000 LGBTQ television stories. We present South Florida's major LGBTQ events, including Pride Fort Lauderdale, Stonewall Pride, and Pride Fest. Our magazine, events, television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
In 2026, more than 100 community leaders will sit at this table and share their voices as our anchors. Together, we will host this show to support the LGBTQ+ community. Let's meet this evening's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome anchor John Hayden. A journalist for 31 years, he now focuses on hyper-local reporting covering LGBTQ+ issues, Wilton Manors, Lauderdale by the Sea, Fort Lauderdale, and Oakland Park. You can see all his reports at Greater Wilton Manors on YouTube and Facebook. Welcome, John. How's it going?
Oh my gosh, it is going so good.
So good.
It is so hot, and I am so busy. We've got a couple stories cooking right now. One we're going to address here in a little bit, the Aquaplex saga going on. But there are also so many great things I'm going to be bringing to us over the next few weeks, including Latino Salud's scholarship program, which I got to interview one of the scholars. So that's going to come up here probably on Monday or Wednesday of next week. So I'm looking forward to bringing you all that. And otherwise, just, you know, I'm trying to gather news in the confines of air conditioning. So if you have outdoor events, it's going to be pretty special if you're going to get me there, at least until we get to Halloween. But I love the community, and I'm glad to be back.
It's good to see you.
Thank you.
And now let's welcome anchor Dino Mosquera. He joined the Miami Gay and Lesbian Film Festival in the late 1990s and now serves as the Outshine Film Festival's board of directors. Welcome to the show, Dino. I've missed you.
Thank you. I miss you too. Yeah, so we are preparing for the upcoming Outshine Film Festival in October. It's already here again. I know. October 15th to the 25th here between Fort Lauderdale and Miami. So we are preparing the program right now, and we're having some films in the meantime, cocktails and cinema. So outshinefilm.com if you want to check. So
one of my favorite times of the year. Check it out. Such great work, dude. Thank you for all the work you do.
Thank you.
And now let's welcome anchor Trinidaddy. He's a violinist and a pianist with the Miami City Ballet and is the program director for the Seminole Theater Players in Homestead. Trinidaddy final performances of In the Heights, it's one of my favorites, will be at Seminole Theater on July 24th and 25th. Tell me what's going on.
Experience the final performances of In the Heights at Seminole Theater on Friday, July 24th and Saturday, July 25th at 8 p.m. This Tony Award-winning musical featuring music and lyrics by Lin-Manuel Miranda follows the lives, dreams, and traditions of a close-knit community in New York's Washington Heights. Directed by Charles Benitez, choreographed by Tiffany Hodge, and music directed by Trinidaddy, the production blends vibrant Latin rhythms with heartfelt storytelling. Tickets and additional information are available at seminoletheater.org. Don't miss your last chance to experience this celebrated Broadway favorite. Okay, y'all need to come down to Homestead. All right, to the Seminole Theater. And I'm not just saying it because I'm the musical director. I've been musical director for all of the productions since we opened our program in 2017. But this one is just a little extra special. I'd have to say that many of the performances that we're doing and elements that we're putting in is better than the Broadway musical, if you saw it on Broadway. Some of the leads that we have are just incredible. The way that we stage, the fireworks, the lifts, it's just a really creative production of how we're doing it. So I think that you all need to get your passports and your snacks. And it's actually not that. Everybody jokes with me that
it's easy to get to home.
Yeah,
look, I drove up here just now and it was an hour.
Yeah.
Okay, an hour. And this is kind of rush hour-y type, I was going the opposite direction. But it's really just a fantastic performance. The tickets are only $30, I believe. It's free parking. It's not like you're going to the Art Center and have to add all those extra costs to going to see the show. Plus, we are a local theater. We pretty much survive off of our ticket sales. It's just wonderful. If you like high intensity dancing and music, I think our choreography is better than the original show. Like, it's just such a wonderful, wonderful on your feet production. Y'all should really just come down for it.
I think Get On Your Feet was the Gloria Estefan musical.
Yeah.
Miami.
I'm sorry. No, but but very seriously though.
No.
Very seriously though, Trini. Lynn is such an amazing storyteller. What does interpreting his work add an extra layer because it's so well known and it's so good in its original form?
Actually, I mean, I don't care for the story that much. I don't think it's a fantastic story. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I mean, if you hear my opinions on the Broadway shows in general, you'll get a whole different, I'm different. Okay. I'm a different kind of dude. What makes the musical for me is the snapshot into their lives, and it's the songs. It's the energy of the songs and the dance. Okay. The only character I really care a lot about is Abuela, right? And it mimics my story. I mean, my family came as immigrants from England, Trinidad to England to New York, and living in a one-bedroom apartment with my grandmother, who couldn't read or write till the day that she died, with my uncle and my brother and sister, and it's I connect to that part of it, but really the musical for me is about the songs. It's about the music. It's about the dance. It's about all of that. So, I would say that that's what we do so well with it. And I do think that the way that we've staged some of it, and acting wise, there's characters that maybe you don't care about in the Broadway musical, like Nina's mother, Camila. Like maybe you don't care. They killed her in the movie, so she doesn't even have anything in there. But the way that we have, our actress Magali Perez, who's playing her, it's like you actually like the character. When she sings it, you are just like, what?
Wow.
Is she abuela?
No, that's the Camila. But our abuela, when she does her first calor for Paciencia y Fe, it is an incredible sound that she makes. And shout out to Lucy Grau, who has been a singer, a Cuban singer on the Miami circuit for quite some time. And she's not really old enough like for Abuela, but we make her into that. And she has the voice, a storied voice, that I would say rivals the original actress on Broadway. And the way that we stage Paciencia y Fe, her entire life story, it's a choreography and a staging that you've never seen before that will have you in tears. So you should really come out.
Sold. Check it out, everyone. Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you in the Heights on July 24th and 25th. And let's welcome anchor Greg Shapiro, an inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. Greg is an entertainment journalist whose celebrity interviews and reviews run in a variety of regional LGBTQ publications and websites. Welcome to the show, buddy. How's it going?
Well, I am simply all aflutter. And I'd like to wish everyone a happy National Mango Day.
I love mangoes.
That's today.
I didn't know you were in the Hall of Fame of LGBT in Chicago. Look at you.
Fancy
She's
that way.
fancy.
I'm here, just me.
With a mango.
She's a Cook County queen.
Okay.
We love you.
Love you all too.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's anchor, my bestie, Faye. Oh, no. Oh, that's right. Faye is in Scranton, Pennsylvania, doing the Office Superfan Tour. So this week we have Dr. Julio Capo Jr., a board member of the Stonewall National Museum, Archives, and Library. He's a history professor at FIU and author of the book, Welcome to Fairyland, Queer Miami Before 1940. Welcome back to the show.
Hey.
We haven't hung out in forever. Like, we see each other for a minute at events. What events am I going to be seeing you at soon?
Oh my God, there's so much coming up. I'm right now really excited about. It's true. I always see you. I see everyone here at events because we're all kind of in the same spaces. I'm mostly preparing. I'm really sore because of it for the Gay Softball World Series, which isn't just like a month away, and our team started practicing again. And I also just want to note, my team won last year. I was on the team that won last year, so I feel excited to be back. It's
Pressure?
City this year. I mean, I feel like at this point there's no pressure because I won once already. I mean, the team won, right? Like, but it felt really cool. But now it's in Columbus, Ohio this year. So late August we'll be there for the Vice City Ballers. Will be there.
Interior Ohio in the middle of August. It should be nice and cool.
I'm very excited, but I am really sore.
All right, Dr. Julio Capo Jr., very sore after playing with balls and bats. Welcome back to the show, buddy.
Thanks. I'm Julio Capo, and let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Florida's Holy Cross Health recognized as the LGBTQ+ healthcare equality high performer. The health system is the only one in Florida to receive the honor from HRC this year. Their Healthcare Equality Index is the nation's leading benchmarking tool for measuring LGBTQ+ inclusion and equity in healthcare. Conducted every 2 years, the 2026 survey included nearly 750 participating healthcare facilities nationwide, with only about 350 receiving the high performer designation. Holy Cross Health is one of only 3 healthcare organizations in Florida to receive a top-tier 2026 Healthcare Equality Index designation. It is the only acute care hospital in the state to achieve the recognition, highlighting its commitment to providing LGBTQ+ inclusive, full-service medical care in South Florida. The Human Rights Campaign Foundation says the index helps LGBTQ+ people identify healthcare providers that demonstrate inclusive policies and practices, giving patients better information about access to equitable care. Based in Fort Lauderdale, Holy Cross Health is a member of Trinity Health and operates a teaching hospital, along with outpatient facilities, urgent care centers, and more than 40 physician practices. Queer locals in South Florida will recognize Holy Cross from their integration into the community via testing in many LGBTQ events and businesses. This makes me so happy to see them recognized this way. They are such big actors in our community. They're present everywhere. In any kind of event I see that they're sponsoring, and they're giving their time, their resources. And I have to, as someone who's been there before, I have felt very taken care of, seen. I'm happy to see that they're being recognized this way.
Well, I applaud the HRC for putting an emphasis on cultural competency, and
So
I
necessary.
appreciate Holy Cross meeting these benchmarks. It's somewhat telling of where we live that they're the only one in the state, hospital in the state, to get this particular designation.
Right, no, and it's important that, especially in the times that we're living in the state of Florida, where we see a war against our community coming from Tallahassee, at many levels, particularly the trans community in the state of Florida, that, Holy Cross get this designation. And it tells you that we have places that we can go to that will respect us for who we are. So,
if there's, I'm very funny when it comes to privacy and medical situations, when it comes to, LGBTQ issues, right? If I feel like that my doctor doesn't give an F about my feelings about things, like I definitely don't tell everything that only it's a need to know basis kind of thing. So if there's a survey and I don't feel like answering a question or there's something there, like I won't, or I'll check the other box, right? I'm like, I'm not giving you blood right now, whatever. So I don't need to disclose whether I've had sex with men or anything like that. I'm here for a cold. You know what I mean? So like, I'll definitely keep information to myself, particularly if I feel like there is some kind of judgment in the space where I won't be taken care of in the way that I want to be.
Bravo, Holy Cross Health.
Yeah, we can't take for granted this kind of care. It's so important that we think about those things, and thank you for the work you do.
Hi, everyone. I'm John Hayden, and let's queer up gay culture. People are angry. With Aquaplex in Fort Lauderdale and Birdcage Cabaret in Key West closing this week, employees are sad and in shock. But now they're getting another blow to an already shaky financial future. It appears the management of the clubs were not paying payroll taxes. That means the employees aren't eligible for unemployment. Now former employee Stephen Bell posted on social media, quote, "I found out that Aquaplex Pride Holdings hasn't reported a single cent of my earnings to the government, but are taking taxes out. Where are these taxes going? I don't know, because the government doesn't have them," end quote. Similar payroll issues have been reported at Lip Chicago, which is owned by the same company. Others say they're holding back until after this final weekend, with Charlize Angel Lord saying, quote, "My ass hairs have never been singed more than they are right now. I got lots to say after this weekend, and I can't wait." China Stacks Hilton echoed that sentiment, saying, quote, "Imagine a job taking out taxes from your check for 7 months, promising you that it would be backdated on your account, only to find out once you're not with said job anymore, they haven't paid anything. Don't worry, I'll let the IRS deal with y'all," end quote. Other queens are just simply devastated. Voz Allen wrote, quote, "It's very hard to wrap my head around all the things that have transpired. I'm still in shock." There is still one weekend left, and the Aquaplex staff is holding its final show, Our Last Dance, this Sunday at 2 o'clock. This story has so many different angles. I'm going to be reporting on this, I know, Monday and Wednesday next week when I'm here. There are just so many things popping out. So many people are getting hurt. The damage is not confined to South Florida. Unfortunately, I'm going to take a bigger look at that on Monday. But so many legacy bars are not thriving under this management plan.
What is the reason for, is it that just people aren't frequenting the establishments? Like why are they closing all of these establishments at the same time?
Well,
because also, sorry to interrupt you,
absolutely.
that Aqua, the drag part of in Key West, at least, they closed a week ago, right?
2 weeks ago. Yeah.
2 weeks ago. And that's part of the same.
They started that way.
Yeah,
Started
okay.
with
So it started with that. So now we're adding more to it. So what is the reason for all of this closing?
Well, in this case, they haven't paid rent.
Yeah.
They're being evicted.
Okay.
That's why they were kicked out in Key West. At that time, 2 weeks ago, they said the birdcage is fine. It will continue to operate. Unfortunately, now it's closing. So why they didn't pay the rent, if they don't have money, if they haven't been generating enough revenue, I can't speak to that. But I know that Key West was given a summons by the Monroe County tax collectors in June. The Oakland Park location was given a utility shutoff notice. Apparently, they were able to pay that. They were given a 3 days to evacuate notice in May by their landlord. Apparently, they made enough payment to get through this week. This week will be 2 months since they got that note. So I don't know why they're not paying. I just know that the taxes and the rent is coming due, and they're not paying, so they're closing.
I mean, is there any way that like another bar or bar owner can step in and do something to assist with the situation?
Probably here in Fort Lauderdale is more feasible, but I feel for those poor people in Key West. They don't have many options.
No, there's not so few bars. Right?
I mean, I know there are other drag bars here in South Florida, but Key West, I mean, that's about it, right? Is that and 801? Is that right?
I mean, I think I'm not. Financial journalism is not my wheelhouse. So I want to be very clear when I say this is
we don't know.
very, very speculative. And I don't want to say anything libelous or slanderous. But I believe the assets themselves are very troubled. Someone couldn't just come. You'd have to get someone else who wants to open a drag venue to come in to this space and completely and start from scratch. I believe the liquor license in Key West was foreclosed on. That they were supposed to pay.
That's really expensive.
It was an interest-only loan with $7,600 a month payments that I believe has been defaulted on. There may be other loans against other liquor license. People are saying that. I haven't heard that.
Right. So basically what you're saying is that we don't know the state of how they were running their business. So maybe somebody doesn't want to step up just to bail out if they find that the way that they were running the business was not quite correct. And you'll see, I guess, these drag queens that are going to come out soon and talk about maybe certain things that are there. So, yeah, it's a horrible. I go to Key West all the time.
Yeah.
And so I love those places. In fact, Aqua, the drag shows, there's been some of the best drag shows I've ever seen in my life. And some of those queens, they are so talented. And I saw they have a GoFundMe up there on social media. So I don't know if you can look. It says to help them get through the summer.
Yeah.
I guess until they, get land on their feet.
Some are doing that. I know several benefits are being planned. Those details are being finalized, and I'm going to bring those to us next week, but they're not going to be for at least a couple of weeks. So we've got time to promote those.
For sure.
But yeah, I love seeing the community come together, but there is so much to this story that I'm going to be reporting on this for a very long time to come, unfortunately.
No, it's going to be one of those stories for sure that continues. We're going to continue learning more, and quite frankly, some of it may not be things that we want to hear because it's very difficult. That is to imagine what this is going to look like, because it's such an engine for our community. And I love here in Aquaplex, just out in Fort Lauderdale, we're thinking about. It bridges the communities between straight people and the LGBTQ community and in ways that are really important. It's just outside the drive. I think it's been this really important space, to say nothing of almost 20 years, right? Before it was Lips.
It was Lips before, but and they came in 2 years ago and did a great renovation of this place. The part that, aside from the human factor, the part that hurts the most is that Aquaplex Oakland Park, Fort Lauderdale, was a purpose-built drag venue,
right?
Like the pub and other places. No shade to them, but they put in a small stage.
No, we don't.
And they do their thing. Aqua was.
That's what it was
designed for this.
Yeah.
And that's what really is going to hurt the most, because I have covered so many pageants
and
there.
And it's a full-time job for folks there.
Right. It's a full-time job, so it's devastating.
I do. Please keep an eye out for all the upcoming benefits and ways that you can support, our community. It's so important more than ever to keep an eye on. Thank you for the reporting on all this and everything you do, and we'll keep an eye out. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm Dino Mosquera, and let's queer up justice. Florida man sentenced to 7 years after shooting LGBTQ plus neighbor, leaving him paralyzed. 30-year-old Tyler Getchell pleaded guilty to attempted manslaughter in the November 2025 shooting of 24-year-old Kyle McFarland. The attack left McFarland paralyzed from the waist down after the bullet lodged near his spine, causing permanent injuries. In addition to the prison sentence, Getchell must complete mental health follow-up treatment after his release, serve probation, pay restitution, and have no contact with McFarland or his family. The shooting followed months of escalating harassment. McFarland said Getchell and his girlfriend repeatedly targeted him, leading him to install security cameras around his home. Reports say the couple display anti-LGBTQ plus signs containing anti-gay and anti-trans slurs, vandalized his property, and mistreated his dogs. On the day of the shooting, McFarland was collecting discarded wood for a bonfire when Getchell's girlfriend confronted him, claiming he was on their property. Video evidence shows McFarland was not and was walking away when Getchell shot him in the back. I mean, what can I say? This reminded me, I don't know if you saw this, the best documentary this year was The Perfect Neighbor, similar story here in the state of Florida. Too. This was in Jacksonville, by the way, this story. And, you know, where basically the things escalated to a point where, you know, somebody brought a gun out. And when you think about this, it started with his girlfriend, who I don't know if she's been prosecuted because apparently he's the one going to jail. Of course, he shot the guy, but she started the whole confrontation, and it again followed months of this harassment. His dogs. It was so unfortunate, and he was walking away when he shot him in the back, and apparently the paralysis was temporary. It's not permanent. I was trying to read into the story, but he's still dealing with the aftermath. So this is so tragic, and it's happening. And in this current climate of intolerance that we live, is gonna continue happening, unfortunately, because we have the people in higher ups just feeding this kind of anger
and hatred.
Hatred.
And once again, in the land of open carry, we have proof that guns and Florida are not really a good combination. Not really good.
Well said. I have to say, my head immediately goes to guns. This is what happens when people are armed and armed with ideas, with guns, but also dangerous ideas of what they can do with those guns, because they're given license to
the Trevor Martin story.
Right.
I mean, here
the police and like this is the Wild West or something. Like that is like, and this these fictions in their head that they're being attacked and that they're their property.
Right.
The difference between property and life are really different too. And like it's somehow that's not what the law says. And like that's just the vulgar part of.
This is why when people ask, why do you need pride? It's because these things still happen. And I remember being at this table, I don't know, many months ago, and I asked all of these prominent members of LGBT society in South Florida, do you still look over your shoulder when you hold hands with your partner? And all of us were like, yes.
Of course.
We're always looking around because it's always a threat, especially here in Florida. I spend a lot of time in conservative spaces, online and in person, and I ask a lot of questions, and I'm always trying to get the pulse of where people are. And this sentiment still exists quite a bit.
No doubt.
Especially I don't know if you know Matt Walsh or do you know him? He's a conservative podcaster. Which, I mean, he was pretty popular, probably in maybe the top 10 of conservative that I was aware of. And now his podcasts, and many of them are full KKK white supremacists.
Yes.
And it was shocking to me, and the way that they talk about gay people and trans people are worse than that. So it's definitely a reason for us to have pride and to have our spaces and to be able to,
Yeah, well, I mean, I know sometimes I throw the word around a lot, but that's because it's used. Fascist. And we sort of joke about it, but the fact is, it's applicable. It's applicable. They are fascism incorporates a lot of authoritarianism, nationalism, racism. These people are fascists, and I mean, it's a blessing and a curse. One, the curse is that they're out there and spouting this. The blessing is at least we know who these people are.
Yeah.
At least we know who they are now. And spoiler alert, we ain't gonna forget.
No.
I'm Trinidadian. Let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Florida Representative Fabian Basabe found liable for sexual harassment, battery, and defamation. A Florida jury found Republican State Representative Fabian Basabe civilly liable for sexually harassing 2 former male staffers, committing battery against both men, and defaming one staffer and his mother on social media. The Tallahassee jury awarded former legislative aide Nicholas Frivola and former intern Jacob Cutbirth a combined $450,000 in damages for pain and suffering. During the trial, Frivola testified that Basabe made repeated sexual comments and touched him without consent. He told the court Basabe whispered, quote, "I want all of that butt," before slapping his buttocks. Frivola also testified that Basabe once slapped him across the face during a legislative reception. Cutbirth shared that after driving Basabe home one evening, he placed a hand on Cutbirth's thigh and made comments on sex with men while attempting to kiss him. He also claimed that Basabe encouraged him to end his engagement to a woman and pursue relationships with men. Basabe represented himself during the trial and was repeatedly reprimanded by the judge for violating courtroom rules. The jury reached its verdict in less than 2 hours. Although Basabe previously pledged to resign if the allegations were proven true, he has not stepped down yet. Okay, so I needed to dig deeper into the story because I know that gay men can have a target on their backs, right? And maybe I could see some of these allegations potentially if they happen to be friends and, a friend ends up being felt like they didn't get paid or something, and then they decide to go to reporters and, kind of tell little portions of stories and all that stuff. So upon reading more and who these victims were, that's not the case. At least that's not what it seems like to me. I read more of the court transcripts to see what they were saying to each other and what his defense might be of these things. And I did a little bit more digging into his past and some previous allegations spanning from 20 years ago. And it seems like what these victims got awarded for, it seems correct. And it seems like there's been a history of this kind of behavior. And it always makes me think, what is wrong with our system that the people who are always rising to power have these issues? Or is it potentially that these issues are so prevalent and these people have microscopes on them, and so we just see it more? But why is the caliber of the people we have representing us and who our political parties are propping up to be the candidates that we have to choose from, why are they so bad?
Well, Republican fascists love sex offenders, or at least they don't hate them. We've seen, what do Democrats do when we find out someone's a sex offender? The guy in Maine, Governor Cuomo in New York, Al Franken, they're gone. Like before the next news cycle can start up the next week. Yeah. Republicans coddle them, hug them, protect them.
Yeah.
So they don't care, and Basabe is, I don't know if he's still a member, but he was a member of, the log cabin faggots that vote against our own interests at every turn. So, he said he would resign. Essentially, if he resigned now, who would really care? He's up for re-election in November. So the voters of Miami Beach can resign him for him. And I really hope they do.
As I hear the story, one of the immediate question I have is also just the logic or not logic. I wonder what the thinking was behind it, of representing himself. Like, I actually think that's,
there's that proverb. Mm-hmm. A man who is his own lawyer has a fool for a client. And there we have it. He just proved it.
Well, the judge said, you know what, your ignorance of the law is not going to make me give you a pass.
Right.
And at one point he was like, I need to go collect myself in the bathroom and like wash my face or something. And the judge granted him the recess, but he warned him. He said, the fact that you basically did something so stupid doesn't mean that I'm going to help you at all.
Right.
So you will face the consequences.
Is this privilege? Is this what it is?
I don't know what it is.
Is because he's rich that he gets to get away with this, or for how long?
Well, and he didn't get away with it. And
yeah,
But
they
there
were
were
reported.
there were
Right.
previous allegations.
Well, there's
Is that right?
right,
I
and
don't
you know, when allegations happen, there has to be a whole process in which the aggrieved party comes forward and goes
Right,
through the
but
right
my
channels
question
and all
about
of that.
privilege is that he still got elected,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
and
Yeah.
and representing
They knew,
Miami
yeah.
Beach, of
Yeah.
all
I mean, look at
places.
Donald Trump.
Right.
Well, that's what I mean.
like it's so
another,
many people.
another reality show guy, sex offender. There's like a pattern here. Here he is. And privilege. There he is. Basabi and Trump.
How do they
Sex
get away
offenders.
with it? Is my question.
Yeah.
How do they keep getting? I guess it's because they're Republican. I suppose.
I think there's also
a whole socioeconomic argument and power balances that we could take up the entire hour
Yeah.
discussing that. But yeah, but you're right though.
It's a lot of, this is layer after layer, and like also the trauma of all this for those, and to think about the kind of effort it took also to document all those things so carefully, and to be able to then present it.
And when you think about all of these people who are getting prosecuted and have their day in court, imagine how many don't, and they're still sitting there that
But like
we
you
just
said,
don't know
keeping
about.
track. Imagine the extra work of having to keep track of how many times this person is.
And then relive it.
Slapped
Kind of
you
like
up.
what to
And
think about
hopefully
it.
they will not pay the consequences, and
Right.
they'll be able to, lead healthy lives and then move on
Right.
and get jobs. Because with this MAGA culture right now, the cult going after these people, who knows?
Right.
Look at women that have been accused of, that have accused Donald Trump, like E.G. and Carroll, and people that are in the news, how they've been chased by the MAGA cult. So who knows? I mean, you think that they should be able to move on, but we don't know. In the current environment, we don't know.
No. I'm Greg Shapiro, and let's queer up sports. FIFA's partner urges against Olympic-style trans ban at Women's World Cup. FIFA's anti-discrimination partner, Fair Network, is urging soccer's governing body not to adopt an Olympic-style ban on transgender athletes for the 2031 Women's World Cup, warning such a move could further stigmatize transgender and intersex players. The debate follows comments from Andrew Giuliani, head of the White House World Cup Task Force, who told Politico that securing a FIFA guarantee that, quote, women play in the Women's World Cup and not biological men, end quote, could become a major issue during tournament planning. Piara Power, executive director of the Fair Network, which works to combat inequality in soccer, said, quote, we think it's important that even if a ban comes into force for the World Cup in 2031, it should not be embedded in FIFA regulations permanently. FIFA should not go the way of the IOC and exclude human beings from participation in football, end quote. FIFA does not conduct sex verification testing, instead relying on national federations to confirm player eligibility before submitting team rosters. The discussion comes after the International Olympic Committee announced in March that transgender women will be barred from women's events beginning with the Los Angeles Olympics in 2028. Well, leave it to Trump to appoint his inept golfing buddy, Andrew Giuliani, as head of the, there's something so fake, the White House World Cup Task Force. What the fuck? I mean, I guess the position of diaper changer for Trump had already been filled. And as I am so fond of saying, boo, sports ball.
Well, Andrew Giuliani is the son
Of course he is.
of Four Seasons Rudy. So I look forward to seeing if he'll ever have any mascara or whatever color dye running down his face. So a couple points I want to make. One, the reason we had the 26 World Cup and the 28 Olympics is because when they were awarding the games, they assumed Trump would be reelected or gone. He would have been reelected in 2020 and gone by 25.
Yeah.
Well, that didn't work out. So now they have to deal with the fascist and his acolytes. However, the Women's World Cup next year is in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't believe there's a trans ban yet for that. And I have a feeling that's going to go off just fine. And then in 31, the games are in North America again,
Right.
Canada, U.S., and Mexico.
Right.
The difference will be, of course, is that Trump will be gone. And hopefully someone competent, someone not authoritarian will be in charge and not persecuting women just trying to play the beautiful game.
I think that I am diametrically opposed to all of you on this. I do not believe in trans women playing in the same professional league or in FIFA. I mean, there's obvious advantages biologically that can be proven, and I don't want to go through everything right now because it's a shorter segment. But I'm more of the Neil deGrasse Tyson ideology, which is sports are by nature discriminatory. For instance, even men against other men. So there's definitely an advantage of being taller in basketball. So when you take a taller country or a country that has taller men in it, you have a much larger pool to draw from than say if you went to some Central American country and what pool that you have. But we don't do basketball based on height in the same way that we do wrestling with weight classes, right? And so basically deGrasse Tyson's idea is that why don't we just find a way to make it a bit more equitable by person to person as opposed to just doing it by sex? And that way we would kind of solve the problem. But as long as we don't solve that problem and we're putting men against women, I mean, women are just not at all.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Yeah,
I mean,
agree with
what do you tell me, with some facts? What do you disagree with?
I mean, I guess if we go by that, then we should have boxing where they only have it by weight. So you compete with your same weight because then we are the same size. I could compete with I tell you, I swim and I swim against some women that are way faster than I am. They're way stronger than I am. And if I have testosterone more than they do. And again, if we're going by measuring sex, testosterone or estrogen before you compete, some women will surprise you. Yeah. Some of them have, they may be XX, but they may have more estrogen and more testosterone.
Right, but we're not talking about just for fun. I mean, for fun, who cares?
But again, it's also
hormones also aren't determinants for the way that you compete in sports.
Oh, it's definitely a part of it.
It's lots of things are a part.
Right.
Of it. And actually, statistically, the thing that's probably the most indicative of how well you're going to do in sports is your social economic class. That's actually
not when it comes to
it's usually
sex.
Generally who had access to the best coaches, who had access to the most
camps.
That's actually the biggest indicator.
Have you looked to see when it comes to, let's just say, running or tennis, when you take at the elite level and where do you think the top woman ranks with the men? Serena Williams, you would say, is probably a top woman. Muscular, you can see all of that, right? She doesn't even, I don't think, crack the top 25 of men or the top 50 or the top.
Has a faster return than any man.
Well, I don't think that they were ranked at any. I haven't clocked what that is.
She's a cisgendered woman.
But I'm just saying.
This has been a debate for decades. Even before we understood this trans debate, for instance. Billie Jean King in the Battle of the Sexes in the early 70s had the same question. And she beat him.
Yeah, she beat him.
There's a debate here that's long before, that's largely about gender and largely more than transphobia. I think at the root of this is sexism. That is generally when you understand.
I completely disagree. It's not sexist. I have nothing against trans people.
I'm not calling.
I'm just saying that the reason why we have men and women's sports is because women don't have a chance at the elite level. And maybe let's just say there's 1 or 2 or 3 exceptions, right? But by and large, they're slaughtered by the top elite. Why are you shaking your head?
I don't agree with that.
These are facts.
Where?
Okay.
Well,
I'll have to come next time to show you where the women, like in something that's more easily able to be objective, like track and field. If you look at track and field, where it's just like we're looking at times, we're looking at all of this.
Is a woman. It's
We're
a cisgender woman.
And I mean, there was a
But
case
that's
of a wrestler.
That immediately comes to hand because I just remember.
There was a
reading
case
it.
of the wrestling
not necessarily the whole
competition at
thing
the
about
Olympics, and she was a transgender woman, and she was defeated by women, cisgender women,
Right.
and she was,
So if that's your argument, then why have male and female, like, why not just make it all one?
Money.
I'm not.
You get to sell men's
suggesting
tournaments,
one way or
women's
another.
tournaments.
Really? So that wouldn't bother you if we just took out men's and women's and just made one?
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that trans inclusion doesn't preclude us from thinking about how differently people can participate. People, really good athletes are really good athletes, right? And like that's
Sure, they can be good. We're just talking about who gets to qualify and push somebody out, a cisgendered woman who it does not have the same advantage. And I'm not saying there's probably some horrible trans athletes that, aren't even, there. But the reason why we put male and female sports and we separate them is because by and large, males dominate. And it's because of physiological reasons.
Yeah, and this is the other thing, and hear me out here, that gets me when it comes to this discussion, and it's basically also the discussion that they also want to outlaw pre-puberty blocking. So if you block the sexual development of men and women before puberty, like many transgender people, men and female, wants to do, you will not develop this musculature or do not develop the frame or do not develop because you're basing it on
but that's kind of a separate argument of
but you can have them both ways.
Of course.
They want to have it both ways.
They're two different. I mean, I think you can be pro one and against the other. Like they're not necessarily connected, but I understand what you're saying. And maybe that is, if there was somebody who, for whatever reason, didn't ever go through puberty, then maybe they're on the same level. But whether you think that's a good idea for an 11 or a 12-year-old to go on puberty blockers, it ends up being a different thing.
And it's invasive. I mean, the case of that runner in Africa that is a cis woman, but again had a higher levels of testosterone.
Right. Like we all.
I mean, like there are variations in nature.
Yes.
There is not everybody's exactly by the same rule. She is a cisgender woman, but she look a little manly. Like there are many women that look manly, including Iona, whatever the rugby player, was a big girl. I mean, she's beautiful and feminine and all that, but she's a big girl.
Well, that's Neil deGrasse Tyson's point. He's saying that there are a lot of factors that are part. So where do you draw the line? Do you draw the line? Like I don't want to say arbitrarily, but we kind of drew the line by sexes. Okay, men do this, women do this. But should we then reimagine sports so that it is a little bit more fair and a little bit more inclusive and we don't have the trans issue? And I'm on that ideology. I'm fine if we change the rules or we change the sports so that it is more fair. I would rather see somebody who's a really short basketball player play against somebody else that, we all like to see kind of a fair fight. We don't want to see somebody who's 200 pounds.
Too?
What do you mean?
Where is this fantasy of this kind of being a problem that exists?
Right,
it's very small, but it does happen.
The idea that this is a kind of ongoing problem. Everyone is just losing
this is
their
a talking point of the right.
I love
completely a distraction, but since we're talking about it on this show, we're talking.
It's just
this is a talking point that they pick because they know that it works for their base, the extreme right.
Yeah.
That's because it happens so infrequently. It really does. And let's say, for example, I've seen. This is then the feminism where some women want to compete in American football with the boys, and we are like, oh wow, yeah, this is inclusive. Oh, she can do it, but then a trans woman cannot compete with other women.
Right.
What's equal is equal.
It's not equal, because there are inherent advantages for the male body when it comes to physical activity.
But again, we're just telling you that there are many instances where women will beat men at their same game, at the same level, and they
We
because
really
they
don't.
train-
I mean, just because that's not really
I also read
true,
trans women
but-
as women, right? Like, I think that's an important thing to say.
Yes.
And I think I respect that. And I find that to have a dignity. And like, that's an important part of this equation.
Equality never comes with an asterisk.
That's exactly right.
The American Medical Association, I know we need to wrap it up, but I would say the American Medical Association, when they weighed in on this topic, and I don't know if they've issued another statement since, the only reason that in at least one of their writings said that we should include trans people, or trans women specifically in female sports, is because of the psychological damage it does to potentially the trans person, but they never weigh in on the issue as far as fairness of like whether it's fair or not, because that's not their wheelhouse. They don't make those kinds of determinations. They're not experts on those particular sports. They just said from the standpoint of psychological damage of somebody feeling like, you know, they should be included when they're not. You know, it's harmful to them, but where does fairness come into that? And that's where I think all
And I think we will
diverge.
disagree on those ideas of fairness, because to me, the other idea of fairness is to exclude. To me, that would be unfair.
Yes.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up the world view. Indonesia faces scrutiny after viral video shows mob attacking transgender woman. The attack, which occurred in the city of Bogor, just outside the capital of Jakarta, was reportedly carried out under the banner of the anti-LGBTQ Bogor Free of LGBTQ. According to Amnesty International Indonesia, at least 10 transgender women have been targeted in 3 separate mob attacks in Bogor over the past 2 months. According to reports, there were 66 cases of violence involving 97 queer people in 2025, a 135% increase from the previous year. The violence comes amid growing public demonstrations against LGBTQ plus people and renewed debate over a presidential regulation that classifies the, quote, promotion of LGBTQ culture, end quote, as a non-military threat. Goodness, this is the continued violence as we see against trans people, but also just LGBTQ people writ large. It's such a global problem and increasingly becoming more commonplace.
This is the largest Muslim country in the world, with the most Muslim population in the whole world. And it's unfortunately, and even though Indonesia is more like a modern society compared to other Muslim societies, but we still have this, very prevalent treatment of transgender.
Yeah, but out in their, I'm not going to say suburbs, but like out in their more far-flung regions, religious law rules. You know, you've got
comparing it to like Afghanistan, for example. I'm just
it's an Islamist theocracy.
Right.
Whether you want to say put a king on a throne like in Saudi Arabia, it's an Islamist theocracy. And the only problem that the Trump administration has with this particular theory is that it's an Islamist theocracy and not a Christian nationalist theocracy. That's the only difference between these horrible people in Indonesia and these wretched people governing America. LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up the USA view. Spokane coffee stand removes transphobic sign after backlash and community protest. The sign displayed out Second Base Espresso said trans women are retarded men. It quickly spread online, prompting condemnation, a surge of negative reviews, and a temporary suspension of new Yelp reviews. Google ratings also declined. Local reports say the sign was removed last week, but before you celebrate, it was replaced with another offensive message. Yeah.
Oh, God.
This seems to be a pattern, as the business has previously faced criticism over controversial signs. Yeah. I mean, the people, these people are telling you who they are. Believe them. And remember, Spokane is East Washington. It's not Seattle, Washington. It is more Idaho preppers than it is hipsters playing in downtown Seattle.
And this dump is known for its bikini baristas. That probably tells you everything you need to know about the place.
I look good in a bikini. I'm gonna grind my.
I'll take your word for it.
Oh.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up politics. J.D. Vance mocked after calling Joe Biden's ice cream eating suggestive. While discussing Biden's well-known fondness for ice cream on the Joe Rogan Experience, Vance said, quote, "The thing I couldn't get over Biden is the way that he ate ice cream. It's like they will get him eating ice cream in the most ridiculous, suggestive way imaginable," end of quote. Host Joe Rogan responded to this statement, saying he never even paid attention to that. The conversation then shifted to eating corn dogs in public, with Rogan saying, quote, "You have to be a very manly man to be able to confidently eat a corn dog," end of quote. The remarks quickly drew reactions online. This is the manosphere right now. This is what we're seeing in this country. Why is J.D. Vance, the vice president of the most powerful nation in the world, paying attention to how another man eats ice cream? I mean, the man just had a baby, for crying out loud. Don't you have other things to, be concerned about than how Joe Biden eats ice cream or how to eat a corn dog? I just don't know. The lady protests too much.
It says a lot more about J.D. Vance than it says about anyone else.
I wonder how many corn dogs he's lost in between the cushions in the couch.
I actually agree with Joe Rogan. He says you have to be a very manly man to be able to eat or to confidently eat a corn dog. Yeah. Like a manly man, like somebody like wouldn't care at all about that. The only person would be like a very insecure man that would be like, look at what are people going to think if I eat a banana in public, if I eat this? I'm like, it's never even crossed my mind.
I mean, you're not deep throating it; you're just eating it. Chew.
The story is hilarious.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up the world view. Uganda drops charges against 2 women accused under anti-homosexuality law. Uganda has permanently dropped charges against Wendy Faith and Alessi Diana Denise, 2 women accused of kissing in public under the country's Anti-Homosexuality Act. LGBTQ plus rights advocate Frank Mugisha announced that Uganda's director of public prosecutions had, quote, permanently discontinued the case. The women were arrested in February and faced a charge that carried a possible life sentence. Their case drew international attention after multiple arrests and months of legal proceedings. Sexual Minorities Uganda welcomed the decision, saying, quote, "Today we celebrate an important victory. Wendy and Diana are finally free." Imagine being imprisoned for life for kissing another person. I guess I shouldn't assume that they're lesbian, but they kissed in public. I've seen women kiss in public before that are not lesbians, even on the mouth maybe. So it just gets me to think, like, what is the right decision for 2 women like that? Is it leave the country? Obviously, this place is not for you, but it's people like that who actually go through and fight that help to change the country. And so I get really torn. And the fact that they haven't left, I just want to commend them. Like, maybe there's reasons, maybe there's family, maybe there are people they have to take care of, whatever it is. But it's just highlights, even with how terrible it is in America at times, like the things that we have to be grateful for, that we're able to fight the way that we are able to fight.
I'm going to bring up things that we have said in the past, because Uganda is always in the news for these kind of things, and other countries around that, Cameroon and some. But Uganda is famous for this. And a lot of these movements are supported by extreme religious American groups.
It's neocolonial.
So neocolonialism, supporting and paying for legal defense here. So don't be surprised if this, what's behind all this.
Well, the law itself
is basically American money. So.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up the world view. Rebel Wilson cleared in defamation case in Australia. Australian actor Rebel Wilson has been cleared in a defamation lawsuit brought by actor Charlotte McInnes after a Sydney court dismissed the case. The dispute centered on Instagram posts in which Wilson suggested McInnes had withdrawn sexual harassment complaint against producer Amanda Ghost to advance her career. Justice Elizabeth Raper ruled that the posts were not defamatory and found McInnes had not demonstrated they were caused or likely to cause serious harm. The court also ordered McInnes to pay Wilson's legal costs. Well, it's good that Rebel Wilson has had a busy few months and with the birth of her second daughter and then being cleared in this defamation lawsuit. Anything to keep her away from a movie set, please.
You know, I'll say that we're reporting that she was cleared, but that doesn't mean that she was cleared of like any wrongdoing morally or in the public sphere. There could be so many different details that we should understand before we make a decision about this situation.
She has a platform. Yeah.
And Greg, with a rebel yell, I want more.
And I'm going to give you a lot less.
As a nonprofit LGBTQ media organization, we would like to thank our viewers for supporting our mission to tell the stories of the queer community. And we also thank the generous support of Jets Pizza. Jets is the LGBTQ community's most popular pizza in South Florida.
Take a look around these streets. Do you really think we woke up one day and said, yeah, the world needs more pizza? Nah, just a better one. Better, like the world's best pizza, Jet's Detroit-style pizza. Hand-pressed and baked to the thickest, crispiest crunch. You're welcome. Now visit jetspizza.com and save. Click on hot deals for special offers in your area. Jets, better because it has to be.
These are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight. Our anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ family.
Especially me. If our community is important to you, share the news with your friends and family. Don't forget to join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines.
We need your support. If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
You better believe this is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Julio Capó, and I thank you for joining us on behalf of my awesome fellow LGBTQ anchors here at Queer News Tonight. That's John Hayden, that's Dino Mosquera, that's Trinidaddy, and that's Greg Shapiro. We'll see you daily at 8 p.m. And to our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you a good night.